Hi, I'm Tressa Bell. I'm the author of The Fan in the Window. My book releases on Amazon April 21st, 2026. I am here to read some testimonials to you from some of my early readers who helped shape the book. The first one was from Dr. Rob. He says, "The Fan in the Window is a deeply honest and courageous memoir about the long shadow of generational trauma and the difficult work of healing. Tressa Bell writes with clarity and humility as she reflects on family, survival, and the quiet ways trauma can echo through generations. What makes this book powerful is her willingness to take accountability while still offering compassion for herself, her mother, and her children. It is a moving reminder that while cycles of pain may not end perfectly, they can bend through awareness, courage, and love." Thank you, Dr. Rob. The next testimonial is from Catherine, who is a social worker that works in this field. Her testimonial is, "This is a powerful and deeply honest memoir about leaving an abusive relationship and confronting the generational patterns that made it feel familiar. With courage and vulnerability, the author traces the slow, non-linear path of healing while learning to reclaim her voice, boundaries, and sense of self. This book is very thoughtful, well-researched, easy to read, and leads you to reflect on your own experiences." Thank you, Catherine. The next testimonial came from a nurse named Kira who works in pediatrics. Kira said, "This book was an interesting read. I love the way the author shows how early experiences can shape perceptions, relationships, and emotional responses. It is a very emotional story that tells how trauma can be passed down through generations until awareness can be the first step towards breaking that cycle. It really helps open your eyes and helps you realize how certain traumas can affect people's lives and how those people deal with those certain traumas." Thanks, Kira. The next testimonial is from Tracy, who is a registered nurse who has also worked in the field. She says, "From the first chapter, I was hooked. Many of her life experiences mirrored my own experiences. Tressa was forthcoming with her healing journey and offers hope to those who are still struggling. I highly recommend this book." The next testimonial is from a man named Mitch. He says, "I love your book, and I say this as a man who reads 40 to 50 books a year across most genres. So, I know good writing when I read it. Your concise and precise style is enjoyably readable. I couldn't put it down, and many of your points are so well stated and both scientifically and emotionally compelling that I read them over several times to absorb as much as I could. Autobiographical psychology, like your story, is a mirror. The astute reader begins to see reflected vignettes from his or her own life in your story, and it causes one to pause and contemplate past trauma and present outcomes, what happened and what could have been, balanced by a forthright honesty and reality. You then bring in the appropriate spiritual aspect of letting go of thoughts of what was or will be and living mindfully in the present. Bringing The Fan in the Window full circle to the end of the book is well done. You really put yourself out there. That's courageous and admirable. Thank you for sharing it with me. I hope you'll write more." Next, we had Tara, who is a clinical counselor, and she wrote, "This story is incredibly powerful and deeply moving. The honesty brought to the author's childhood experiences and the way she confronts generational patterns takes so much courage. It's inspiring to see how she turned pain into growth and healing, not only for herself, but for those who came after her. This book is a testament to resilience and the strength it takes to break cycles and create a new path." The next person that read my book was a lady named Kimberly, who is a personal coach. And she said, "The Fan in the Window is a great example of what family trauma can look like, how it's created and perpetuated in families. The author shows us this constant level of trauma not only manifests deeply within families, but also how the trauma affects every person's nervous system. As a personal coach, I realize that people's higher self is always trying to assist each of us towards more harmony in life. The author unknowingly chooses a field of nursing that would be her golden ticket to more harmony, freedom, and peace. I love how the author closes by stepping into her personal empowerment. She consciously chooses to interrupt the generational patterning within herself, her children, and therefore generations to come. The next testimonial comes from Kelly. She says, "This book is a helpful tool for anybody who has dealt with any type of trauma in their past. It helps you to recognize that there are different forms of abuse. It gives hope to those dealing with similar situations and lets you know that healing is possible. It is well written and easy to follow." Thank you, Kelly. The next testimonial comes from Kim. She says, "The author takes a personal experience and tells the story of learning, acceptance, and making intentional decisions to change in order to stop the cycle or change the trajectory. The book is relatable on many levels, especially for women who feel like they are not enough or often feel guilty for their actions or inactions." The next testimonial is from Stacy. She says, "Reading this memoir was both powerful and deeply moving. The author's willingness to confront generational trauma and domestic violence with such honesty takes courage. This isn't just a story about what happened. It's about understanding it, taking responsibility where needed, and choosing a different path forward. And that, to me, is what makes it so impactful." And then Heather wrote, "You never know what trauma people have been through, even those whom you call friends. Gives a good outlook on what happens as an adult after you've been through a lifetime of trauma." And last but not least, Kristen wrote, "This book provides an easy and relatable perspective. The scenarios and the terminology are at a good level for the average person." Thank you, Kristen. So that brings me to you. I would love to hear your feedback once you've read my book, The Fan in the Window, which, like I said, can be purchased on Amazon starting April 21st. It's available in ebook, paperback, and hardcover. In addition to the book, I also have a podcast with the same name, The Fan in the Window, Interrupting What We Inherit. In the podcast, we explore the same themes as the book, but we go a little deeper into actually how to interrupt the patterns that we're trying to change. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm always updating information on my website, so please check it out, www.thefaninthewindow.com. Thank you again.